As you very well know, it is about 1 month since the Azimio la Umoja side of the talks suspended those talks. The suspension was sine die, which literally means indefinite. And going by that, a month has lapsed. And since we left the talks, we actually got into the budget making process and the finance bill, which matters were concluded last week. Those matters are now behind us, and in our view as the Kenya Kwanza Bipartisan talks team, we should actually reconvene and continue with the talks. The most important issue that we are actually calling for reconvening of the talks is as regards IEBC. You know very well that out of goodwill, even the recruitment process was suspended, awaiting the talks. And this is the assurance we were trying to give to the other side, that as the talks went on, there would be no recruitment process being carried on. For the last 1 month, we have carried this through, but it is the high time we either agree to proceed to discuss IEBC in the bipartisan talks, or we allow the law to take its own course and process. This is because the country cannot be held to ransom as regards the recruitment of commissioners to IEBC. As you know very well, there are constituencies and wards whereby elections are looming. In these constituencies, we need representatives elected. And this is why we reiterate from our last conversation as joint talks that the issue of IEBC is of common importance, and it is mutual to all of us and needs to be given the priority it deserves. So for the first issue of IEBC, constitution and everything else that goes with IEBC, we will now invite the Azimio la Umoja Bipartisan talks side of the talks to a meeting on Tuesday, the 4th of July, 2023. By this, I mean, as the co-chair, I will be communicating with my fellow co-chair, the Honorable Otiende Amolo, so that with consent of both sides, we can resume the talks on Tuesday, the 4th of July, 2023. Once the talks resume, we will now let the talks take their own course to conclusion or to whatever outcome those talks are likely to have. But it is vitally important that as we sit here today, the talks do resume and the issue of IEBC is actually discussed and resolved in the best way possible to the betterment of the country and for the good of everyone in this particular political atmosphere. First and foremost, let's not speculate they will turn it down. They may accept, and therefore we will proceed. But in the event that happens, then we do not think there is any other option apart from invoking the Constitution and the law, so that the law takes its course. It is properly stipulated under our laws what is supposed to be done when it comes to constituting IEBC, the commissioners, and the selection panel. Even Azimio, even as Kenya Kwanza, ever since this was suspended, we actually got into the budget making process and passing of the finance bill. That was only concluded last week. So we cannot say that they are calling for the consultations, which they are doing at Kamukunji, is knee-jerk. So if it is not knee-jerk, even what we are doing here today is also not knee-jerk, because we call this the earliest available opportunity. This is what we are all using. It's about a month since we suspended the talks. The talks were suspended by the Azimio la Umoja side of the talks. And as soon as that happened, we were actually getting into the budget making process, in which case we had to deal with the budget statement itself. We also had to deal with the finance bill. You all know that we finished these matters last week. In fact, it was on Thursday that everything was concluded. And therefore, since these matters are behind us, we now need to reconvene the talks. Because this is what had held back the talks. We now need to reconvene, and it has nothing to do with the consultations that Azimio has called for. So towards this, the first topic to be discussed, and which is of paramount importance, is the IBC. We must discuss IBC on the constitution of the commissioners, because it's urgent, it's important to every Kenyan, and we must move on. Commissioners have to be put into office to conduct the by-elections, which are looming or which are pending in some constituencies and some wards in the country. So we need to move the speed. And this is why we are saying we are inviting our colleagues for a meeting on Tuesday, the 4th of July, at a venue that is going to be agreed upon, so that we can proceed and deal with the matters that are on the table. And I repeat, this is not a knee-jerk reaction to what Azimio is doing or the consultations they are having. Because on their side, that is how they are reacting to the conclusion of the finance bill. On our side, this is how we are reacting to the conclusion of the finance bill.